Good morning, viewer. Welcome to War Force TV. Yes, China drills shows Beijing is developing the ability to strangle Taiwan, experts say. China's military exercise so Beijing does not need to invade Taiwan to control it. Rather, it can strangle the self-built island, cutting it off from the outside world, Chinese and American analysts say. The People Liberation Army drills, which officially began last Thursday, focused on 6 zones that essentially and circle Taiwan, restricting access to civilian ships and aircraft in the area as forces conducted live fire drills and missiles launches. Mang Jingpyeong, a professor at the PLA National Defense University, said the 6 areas were chosen to show how China could cut up Taiwan's ports, attack its most important military installation, and sever access for foreign forces that may come to Taiwan's aid. Connect the 6 areas in a line like a nose with the knot of the noose right in the southwest direction, Meng said in an interview with the state-run broadcaster CCTV. China Communist Party viewed democratic Taiwan as its territory, despite never having controlled it. Uniting Taiwan with the mainland is a cornerstone of Chinese policy, and President Xi Jinping has not ruled out the use of force to bring the island under Beijing's control. Meng noted the northern exercise areas had successfully sealed off Taiwan from Okinawa, the island where both Japan and the United States base substantial military assets. In the southern areas, the PLA showed it could control the basis channel, the only way to enter and exit the South China Sea, he said. And in the eastern areas, China's forces showed that accurate Chinese missiles fire could force foreign warships to back away from Taiwan's waters, he added. This is an unprecedented encirclement of Taiwan island, Meng said. And on Monday, China issued a notice to say deals were continuing. The exercise kicked off after US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi great Beijing by visiting Taipei last week to show her support for democracy on the island. Beijing flooded the seas and skies around Taiwan with ships and jets. As many as 80 Chinese warplanes and vessels were detected in the Taiwan Strait Sunday, according to Taiwan's defense ministry. On previous days, the PLA also fired rockets towards small Taiwan-controlled islands near the mainland and launched ballistic missiles further afield, with some flying over Taiwan and falling in the ocean east of the island. 5 splashed down in Japan's exclusive economic zone, a message to one of Taiwan's key supporters as well as the government and Taipei. A map of the 6 Chinese exercise areas clearly plots out where the Chinese think the key operating areas are for the strategic intimidation of Taiwan. Mick Ryan, an adjunct fellow at the Center of Strategic and International Studies and former Australian Army General, wrote on Twitter, commercial ships and aircrafts were warned to stay clear of the exercise zone, forcing shippers and airlines to arrange alternative routes. Carl Schuster, a former director of operation at the US Pacific Command's Joint Intelligence Center near Hawaii, said the blockade of 6 zones showed that any takeover of Taiwan could begin with an isolation strategy. The exercise demonstrated the blockade in a conflict need not required to constant naval presence offshore, but rather shipping and air traffic can be deterred by air and missile threats in support of a maritime blockade. Schuster said the exercise suggests Beijing would first isolate Taiwan and resort to air and missile strike in hope of breaking Taipei's political will. A costly invasion probably is a last resort, Schuster said. Schuster said much of what Beijing demonstrated had long been in the works. The drills coincided with standard military exercise on the PLA's training calendar, but he said Pelosi's visit allowed China to make a bigger statement. The size, geographic expense and complexity of the exercise reflected months of planning. He said, this exercise marks the latest escalation in China's expanding military exercise and Taiwan intimidation campaign. He said he expects the PLO will continue to put pressure on Taiwan and could also send a message to Japan with more drills to the north of Iceland. New exercises are also likely in the South China Sea, the 1.3 million square miles of water, almost all of which China claims as its sovereign territory, where Beijing has built up military fortifications on contested islands, Schuster said. While continuing exercise will allow the PLA to refine its tactics and operation, they also can provide an opportunity for adversaries to learn about the modern Chinese military, experts say. Nothing provides better insights into the actual capability of a military than seeing them deployed. Ryan, the former Australian Army general, wrote on Twitter. With the last week's drill, Xi had to demonstrate he would not waver on his commitment to bringing Taiwan under Beijing's control. Schuster said Pelosi's visit to the Iceland posed a direct threat to that by presenting an alternative vision of democracy. Pelosi leads the democratically elected branch that originates America's government funding and economic policies. Her position and role makes her commitment to Taiwan's security particularly significant, Schuster said. Unable to bully her, Xi had to demonstrate China's power, diplomatic, economic, and military, he said. While the military exercise gave Xi strong visuals to support his resolve, China also hit Pelosi and the US government with a range of sanctions. The measures, including the cancellation of future phone calls and meetings between Chinese and US military leaders, and the suspension of cooperation on matters including the repatriation of illegal immigrants, legal assistance on criminal matters, and the combat of transnational crimes, talks on climate change were also suspended. Beijing also announced measures targeting Pelosi and members of the immediate family. The goal is intimidation via the application of all elements of Chinese power, Schuster said. Behind the report, Posak TV.